everybody. Hey everybody, welcome to the Lo-Fi Mixtape presentation. It's kind of I don't know, just it's kind of chill, so keep it chill. But all we'll be doing is we're going to talk to you about what the heck this actual project is. First of all, we're going to get some special people to come up and talk. You know, give them a seat, have a nice chat with them. You guys can ask questions, and we'll have a special surprise for you, a little teaser thing at the end. But yeah, welcome everybody. I hope you guys learn, take whatever you want from this, how you will, and I hope you guys get hyped for Mixtape. Woo! That's great. So, what the hell is Mixtape? Mixtape is basically kind of it's the project of our society that's kind of become our flagship in the sense that it's kind of like the biggest project. You know, it takes the most time, and it's the one that we try our best to hype up the most. And it features tracks from people in our community. So we have a few people here who have worked on it from last year, and it's basically just a chance for everyone in our community to kind of come up and show off their talents, especially musically. So everything in this mixtape is produced and performed by all of us here. It's all like in-house, and everyone here is just amazing and talented. I have a mic now. That's great. So it's all done in-house, and everyone who did it last year, all very, very amazing, very, very talented people. And if you guys want, if you know anyone, or if you are yourself someone who is more musically inclined, you should definitely come and sign up. We can look at that later. But so yeah, definitely come and sign up, and it'll be great. Okay. All right. Roll. Let's roll it. First one is Kojack. Look at this guy. Absolute Chad. Come up. Everyone give it a round of applause. Alright. Take a seat as a rightful veteran mixtape member. Okay, Mr. Kojack. Introduce a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Is that all, or do you want me to do a spiel?
You can do whatever you want. Go,
Alright.
Go ahead.
I'm happy to stand.
You're happy to stand?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Alright.
I got these seats up for nothing good.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it.
All
Okay,
right.
so I'll start off with who I am. Hello, I'm Michael. I also go by Kojack as my artist name. My artist name is actually from the first dog that I ever owned until I was about 14. So yeah, gamer tag, music name, everything, Kojack. Who I am, yeah, I actually did not study at UNSW, surprise, surprise. I went to Macquarie University. I did law and commerce, graduated in 2020, and joined the mixtape as an opportunity to sort of give the music thing a shot. I've been doing music all throughout primary school, high school, picked up instruments along the way, and I was always looking for an opportunity to get myself into the music scene, and I thought this was a perfect way to do so. So even my studies had absolutely nothing to do with music, definitely a side hobby, a side interest, and Lo-Fi Society and the Mixtape Project helped me really foster that love for music and actually do something with it, so it was amazing. What I did in terms of the mixtape, I was a part of 3 different tracks. The first one there, which played earlier, Odyssey. What's so great about that track, and I'm not just saying that because I was in it, is that it was not meant to be a rap song to begin with. Music kind of has a life of its own, as far as I'm concerned, and that was a perfect example of that. Got together with Vedra and Gieshi, 2 other artists on the mixtape. Jose being Vedra, the amazing artist that you've been hearing all night so far. And yeah, we started off with a lo-fi idea. I sent him a guitar track, something that I came up with on the fly, and it sort of became more of a rap track as it went on. And as I said, music sort of has a life of its own, so that's what we went with. I was on another track with Suhit, who was the amazing artist and the one that put together this presentation, which is looking amazing. Incredible designs from Suhit, love your work. That song I worked on with Suhit and Black White Mezzanine. Starting Over, if you'd like to check out that track as well. I did not have much of an input into that one other than a bit of lyrics and singing. The rest was them, they are the talent. And the last one that I had a part of was also Suhit's track, which was sort of an intro to the mixtape. And the reason I'm sort of explaining all this is to tell you that, if you'd like to be a part of the mixtape, there are many different ways you can be involved. The first one that I was a part of, I had a huge part in, lyrics, music, a lot of that was mine for Odyssey. In Starting Over, not so much. Most of that was Suhit and Black White Mezzanine, and then the last one, I barely had a partner at all, I really just spoke. So if you'd like to be a part of the mixtape, I definitely encourage you to be a part of it. It's even just a great way to get yourself involved in the music scene. It's an amazing thing to be a part of. I've made so many friends from it. As soon as Vedra reached out to me and he was like, hey man, you want to give a presentation? I was so happy, like, I want to be a part of this again. It was such an amazing experience. Everyone that I worked with was amazing, and I'd love to do it again. The last thing I'd say is I honestly believe that Mixtape Project has huge potential. If I was a betting man or I was an investing man, I would put all my money in Mixtape. I kid you not. The work that has been done by the directors here to start off the mixtape has been incredible. It's already been a huge success. I honestly would never have done anything with music if it wasn't for this. And I reckon with a lot more growth and the right care for this project, I reckon in about 5 years you'd be fighting to get a position on this mixtape. So if you're interested in it, get in on it now. That's my part.
Thank you. So good to see. Glad to see them. Okay, so next up, our next special guest. You probably have seen him around because he's one of our executives. Spoiler. So we have we have Arnold as our next man. Please give him a round of applause. You want to give yourself a short introduction or a whole spiel?
I have no idea how to go about this because Kojack has already serenaded me and I'm kind of like on a cloud nine right now. I'll do the exact same thing you did. So I'm Arnold. My artist name is ANGL. A lot of people pronounce it as ANGL instead because they can't read. I'm studying mechanical engineering at UNSW, contrary to Macquarie University. And I'm in my 3rd year. Did I already say that? I can't remember. Anyways, I joined Lo-Fi Society because I was previously an exec in Music Society. So I found a new Music Society, which is now Lo-Fi Society. There's a lot more things going on within Lo-Fi Society. We have a pop and Discord server. Don't ping me in the Discord, please. I'm very busy. Anyways, so the reason why you're all here is because Mixtape is a very important part of Lo-Fi Society. It is, as Kojack said, one of our flagship projects that we do each year, or will do each year from now on. We only started off in 2020 and bang, now we are here with over like 1,000 members and like 800 people in Discord at the same time. Mixtape essentially, I'm not going to repeat what Kojack said, is an amalgamation of about 12 to 20 artists, everyone contributing to tracks. Usually we have about 15 to 20 tracks. Last year we had 19 and split up between 12 artists. Some people did solo tracks like me, and also group tracks, and also hybrid, so like both of them at the same time. I was fortunate enough to be in
A lot.
4. I did 2, and then like 4 tracks. Because I've been a music producer for about 7, 8 years now, and I've played piano for like 17. I felt like it was a really good way to kind of, learn about lo-fi and then learn about how I produce better and not just like doing this same old shit that I've been doing like for many, many years. So one of the tracks that you heard was Dreamin' of You. That's the track I made with the very talented Suhit and Chris Desu. He is unfortunately not here today, and I've still not seen him over a year of collaborating with him and him being my homie and staying up in late night calls, doing assignments together. I really had nothing to do with that track. I just gave them like a piano track and then a flute track. And then Suhit's like, oh yeah, let's flip it and make it amazing. So I was like, okay, I guess that works. The other track you might have heard some people in the room before we started the presentation was Bedroom Beats. That's the title track of like the starting track of Mixtape. Funny story about that, we made that in 10 minutes.
Not 10 minutes.
I made the track in 10 minutes and gave them the piano sample, which was with Fedra and Dang. We just slapped the beat onto it, and I was like, okay. And then, yeah, so that track was born. 2 solo tracks of my own, See You Soon and Zahui, which is basically the same thing but in Chinese, because I couldn't figure out a better name for it. But TLDR, I'm not going to spiel on for too long, is Mixtape is a really, really great opportunity for anyone who's beginning in music, really good at music, doesn't have any clue about music, to just join in and have fun, because I guarantee you will make a shit ton of friends on the way, and also you'll inevitably learn a lot more about music. And it's not really much about you being able to produce great music or you being able to like carry a team. It's more of like you have so many ideas that you want to execute and you might not be able to do so, and someone in your group may be able to kind of make those ideas come true. So it's a really enlightening experience, and I really highly hope a lot of you guys join Mixtape. Thank you.
Sweet. Thank you for that testimony. Say that. Thank you. All right. Now we're going to grill them on questions. I'll start with a pretty controversial one. Out of all the mixtape tracks, I'm gonna give your honest opinion. Your most honest opinion. Which one's your favorite? You go first.
Let me look up the name. I've been listening to it over and over again, but I can't remember the name. Coney. Which one did he do by himself?
Stranger.
Stranger. Absolute favorite track.
Why?
Honestly, it fits the lo-fi vibe perfectly. It makes you feel things, and if any art can do that for me, automatic 10 out of 10 for me.
Woo. Let's go.
None of my own tracks.
Oh my god. You can say your own track, it's fine.
When it comes to music, I like the melody and like harmonies and that stuff a lot. It's a big toss up between Dreamin' of You and Bedroom Beats. I can't tell which one is better. That'll be up to Sumit and you to decide. You two battle it out. I really
What?
Because
Dude.
one of them has banger vocals and the other one has just a shit ton of memes in there. And so like it's a toss up between those two, but yeah, the entire mixtape is just fire.
I'm not gonna say my opinion because I don't want to. Okay, that's great. If you haven't heard those tracks, you should listen to them. They're really good. Okay, next question. Right now that we got the controversial stuff out of the way, next question. Kind of a deep one. What got you into music in the first place? So think back to when you first, were engaged in it, I guess. What made you so interested in just doing music in general? Who of you want to go first?
That is a tough question that takes me back to primary school. Oh boy. What got me into music was, the primary school that I attended in the Carlingford area. I won't give you exactly where, I don't want you to stalk me. Had a band. It was just a concert band, usual primary school one that plays Mary Had a Little Lamb very terribly at every assembly you have, and I admired everyone in it. I saw people playing the clarinet, and I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to play that one. So I picked it up, and ever since then, like every few years, I've just picked up a new instrument. It is what keeps me happy when I'm not at work or I'm not studying. That's it.
This takes me back to a time where I can't even remember anymore. So I was 4 years old and I'm Asian. So my parents, Asian parents, they force you to do music, and little did they know that, this man would actually enjoy music. And so, from there on, I kept playing piano, and up until about when I was 13 or 14, everyone gets bored of gets bored of playing like the same stuff over and over again. I was like, hey, why don't I just procrastinate and not do what I'm supposed to do? And so I started improvising and started producing music, and like that's where I am at this point right now.
Let's go. Wow. That's they started really early. That makes me question myself a little bit. But doesn't matter, that's fine, you know, everyone has to start somewhere. Great, so obviously these guys are very, very experienced human beings. When you were doing Mixtape, what was the general vibe that you got when you were like doing everything? So, you know, working with everyone, like how did it feel to work with everyone in just a vague general sense? So, were there some people, you know, you jived well with, or maybe there was like a lot of clashing ideas? I don't know, just in general, what was really like the vibe of just while you were working on it, what was just generally the vibe, I guess?
Alright, I'll take it first all the time. Alright. I think one of the greatest things about Mixtape, and something that I spoke about earlier, is that everyone has different skill sets, everyone has different interests, and Mixtape is the most beautiful way to bring all those things together. I am not a producer. I can't produce to save my life. Nope, just didn't work for me. I tried. I honestly tried to get into Fruity Loops. I tried. It didn't work for me. I'm sorry, but instrumentals is what I can do, and I know how to record at the very least. So when I was put together with people that didn't have so much interest in the instrumentals, Vedra is an absolute master producer and had different ideas to what I did. The general vibe and gist of things was that we would bring our skills together, and that's what made our tracks what they became.
Echoing what Michael said about how everyone has different skill sets, that is very, very true. I still can't produce lo-fi, and I probably will never be able to produce lo-fi. However, I can always I can provide you with piano samples, which is exactly what we did for Mixtape. And it was so cool seeing like my idea of, hey, how I want this to be panned out in lo-fi instead of like what kind of direction could we take with this like really generic piano sample. And I think that the general vibe of that is like it empowers like everyone's ideas, whether you are giving the starting point to someone or you are like fleshing out other people's ideas. It's very, I don't know, enlightening.
Yo, okay, that's you produce though. Okay, it doesn't matter. He does produce, and he says he can't make lo-fi, but he very much can. Don't worry, he's just lying. But other than that, thank you for that. This might be the last question, and it's kind of we'll end it in a controversial sense. Maybe the first part is going to be fine, it's kind of nice and wholesome, but the next part is going to be, okay, we'll just go ahead with it. What were some of the good things and the bad things about Mixtape? So, in terms of the bad things, feel free to throw me under the bus. I don't care, okay? It's fine.
Alright.
You can throw me under the bus. Oh, okay, they're doing that. Okay, alright. Please don't watch me. Okay.
This is a tough one. I have spoken about all the good things already. I don't think there's much more that I can cover in the way of good things about Mixtape. Great way to foster your love for music, great way to start on something if you would like to get into music. Like I said, even if you're not so musically inclined or talented, there's always a role you can play. And that's the best part about Mixtape to me. I think the worst part of it, or a part that wasn't so great, was just the fact that it was in its first year. It was a bit disorganized. Timing of things was all over the place. Marketing could have been improved. There's a lot of improvements, but that's just, it's not anything on the directors. It's just, it's a newborn project. It's exactly what you expect. Things are going to fall over, things are going to go wrong, but in the end, on the flip side of that, of what was the worst thing, I think the directors at the time, the executives, did everything they could to make it as amazing as possible, and it still turned out really, really well. So, what was bad is pretty good anyway.
Yeah, but way before it. also listed like all the good things I think about Mixtape. Honestly, like one of the best things I've done last year. Not the absolute worst part, but like a stressful part of Mixtape would be making music is a creative process, and putting a time frame on that is obviously very hard. And when it gets to deadlines, Mixtape is obviously, we have so much organization behind the scenes. We will inevitably have to follow deadlines. And when it comes to those, maybe some of the creative decisions you make along the line might not be the best ones you want them to be, or might not turn out the way you perceive them. But for me, it was like, I definitely, I felt a lot better after like making music for so long, and then like kind of stopping, being on a hiatus, getting writer's block for an entire year, and then someone being like, hey, finish this track by July 12th, and I'm like, okay, I'll do that. So that, like, forcing myself to make music, like, that's also in a good way, so that I would actually pump out music. I have 2 albums coming out, for fuck's sake, because of like all the music I did last year, and so yeah, that's the worst part of Mixtape.
Okay, thank you for all that. I said that was going to be the last question, but this one's more of a statement. So, just to end it off, finally, in terms of anyone who's a beginner or new, or perhaps someone who isn't quite a beginner but doesn't quite know where to start getting their stuff out there, for anyone that is beginning at something, especially on the musical side of things, what would you recommend for them?
It's a tough one. Trying to relate it to Lo-Fi Society, a great way to get started with anything musical is to join Lo-Fi Society. There are so many people in the society that are there to help you grow your love for music and to turn that love into a skill. Since it started, Vedra has, not like every week, but pretty consistently done like tutorials on how to use music producing software. And while I only attended briefly the first one, I can say that he is a master at what he does. And if that's something you'd like to learn, speak to him about it. He's more than happy to help you. He's an incredible teacher. And it's the same for musical talent as well. If you'd like to get into instruments, speak to anybody in the society that plays instruments. Everyone in society is so helpful, so caring. Like, I can't really fault the people in the society, which is why I've made so many good friends here and why I'm so keen to get back into it again.
Sweet.
What was the question?
The question was, in terms of like anyone who's a beginner or anyone who wants to get started, get their foot in the door, so to say, what would you recommend? What anything you might want to say to those people?
Join Mixtape. Definitely hit up people in the society. I think we have a lot of tags now, or like roles on each user that tell you like, hey, what are they doing? What kind of instruments they played. I think we can.
We don't have that yet.
We don't have that yet, but like you can always ask them and like look through the introductions channel. A lot of them are instrumentalists or like musicians. They can always teach you a lot of things. Workshops that you held were really good. Personally, I wouldn't go to them ever because they're using Fruity Loop Studios and I use Logic. But other than that, no, like the rest of the society is it's a very safe bubble. You know, you can voice your opinion whenever you need to. You can always go to people in there for help. As execs as well, we are always here to help you out. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you both for answering all the questions and dealing with me. But yeah, anyway, round of applause for these guys. These guys took the time to come here. Thank you so much. And you'll be seeing, hopefully, both of them in the upcoming mixtape. So stay keen. All right, let's go. to our amazing subcom for taking all of those clips. And special thanks to Larissa. She's right over there. Stand up right now.
Oh my god.
Special thanks to Larissa. She was the video editor of that teaser. That's going to be up on YouTube pretty soon, hopefully by tonight. Don't know. But that absolutely blew my mind when I first saw that. So thank you for that. All right, let's go. So now you heard me ask them some questions. This is the time for you to potentially ask any questions that you might have. You can address it to them, you can address it to me, you can address it to, I don't know, your homie sitting next to you. I don't care, right? Questions? Does anyone have any questions? Yes, let's go.
How exactly do allocations work? Like, how do you decide on how many tracks an artist can put out?
Okay, so in terms of how many tracks we do, last year it was a little bit messy because it was kind of like, okay, the artists, everyone kind of, all the artists kind of get together and they go, okay, I want to work with you, I want to work with you, I want to work with you, I want to make this many tracks, and I want to make this many tracks, and that kind of thing. And so we thought that was a little bit disorganized, but this year, this time around, what we're going to do is we're going to get a bunch of all the artists, some artists already kind of know each other, and so they can get together in groups, and we'll obviously give you guys time to get to know each other as well, to get you guys in groups when you want to. And overall, in terms of how many tracks everyone is going to be making, it's going to be, we're going to set a limit of about 3 tracks, because we found that, you know, you guys are university students and you guys have to study. So in making a track, even just one track in, like, say, a month, the time frame that we have is 2 to 3 months. It's a bit of a daunting task. Now, you have other people there to help you, obviously, because you have teammates, so it makes the job, makes the load a little bit lighter. But overall, you guys will be making 2 to 3 tracks, 3 at maximum. If you feel like you can make more, you can go ahead and talk to me, and I will be able to sort that out with you if you feel like you want to make more and you can make more. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Sweet,
Thanks.
let's go.
I have a
Suhit.
question.
Suhit has a question.
You know, this goes to the three of you. How is it like collaborating with new artists? And if this was like your first time, yeah, how is it to collaborate with somebody for the first time?
I have the mic with me, so I guess I'll start. Okay, collaborating with new artists. It's actually funny because for the long time that I've been a music producer myself, Lo-Fi Mixtape was kind of the first real time that I actually collaborated with people. So it was a very fresh and new experience for me. I came into the table and I was only able to do, I felt like I was only able to do, you know, go into my laptop and make the laptop go beep boop, and then that's about it, right? But then obviously, like they said before in other parts of this whole presentation, a lot of people in the mixtape have different skill sets. So I came into the mindset of, okay, I'm a producer, I'm gonna go in with my laptop and I'm gonna turn up Fruity Loop Studio on, and I'm gonna just chuck some drums on there and put some thingies on there. Yeah, but that's all I really ever thought about. But once I started working with other people, it kind of opened my horizons a little bit and gave me more perspectives. In general, before the whole mixtape thing started, I'm mainly an EDM producer, so I very much come from that mindset of electronic music, you know, doing all, just like pumping out bangers and like, what the heck is that, right? But when I came into mixtape, there was people who were listening to pop and hip hop and like rock, just a lot of different things. And so I could come in and learn from all these people and then kind of like steal a little bit of what they knew and kind of add it to my own repertoire, to say. And so that really made me learn a lot, especially considering that this was my first time working with other people. So yeah, very good. Basically, TLDR, I learned a lot of things that I normally would not have learned if I was just working by myself.
What's the question?
What's it like working with new people?
since I started producing music when I was like 14 or 15, like I never really had circles of friends who also produce music at the same time. And it's really, really, I was really glad to see like, hey, like when I went to uni, I was like, there's also no music producers or like people who just vibe out to music and like do the same stuff as I do. Until Lo-Fi Society and until Mixtape started, I was like, wow, there's so many people that share the same interests as me. And I was like, going into that, I was already biased thinking like, yo, this is gonna be fire. And it was. Like working with new people, no matter what their skill set, I feel like anyone who joins Lo-Fi Society is a great homie. You know, there's never been any arguments with like anyone in our groups, in the mixtape, in general at all. Like you could say maybe exec will have disagreements and other stuff, but like as mixtape itself, it's, you know, I have no worries with mixtape at all.
My answer to this question is something I think I've kind of already gone over a little bit already, but just to make sure that your question is answered, irrespective of your ability or your skill set, Mixtape is great at bringing all of those people together and all those players together to make the most of their skills. Like I said, in one of the tracks that I did for Suhit, I got a script and I talked. That was it. That was the limit of my musical contribution to that track. In another one, I helped sing for it, and in another one, I did the guitar part. I wrote lyrics. It's any skills that you do have can contribute in any way to the mixtape. So working with new people is a great way to bring them up and to show yourself that everybody is different and everybody can contribute to make something amazing.
Sweet. Okay, let's go. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Oh gosh, oh no.
What are the key dates that we need to remember for mixtape?
Let me get my. I have a timetable. Of course, one of the vague key dates is the release, as you saw, is going to be in spring of this year. So, spring. What a romantic time. Another important key date is on Sunday. So this coming Sunday, that's when applications end. So if you don't send an application in by then, guess you'll be part of Mixtape. There's a few people I'm looking at in the room who haven't done that yet. Yeah? So there's that. And then throughout Mixtape, you'll have during every single week, there's going to be like a workshop type thing where we're going to teach you, try our best to teach you basic skills for things like producing, and I'm thinking about also opening it up to different skill sets in case there are people that might need different things. So they might be a great producer, but they just don't have their songwriting down pat, or things like that. And during these sessions, some of them will also not just be workshops, but also chances for you guys to get feedback. So you can send your track in, and then we'll be like, hey, I don't like that part of the track, but it's good. So, so yeah, there's that. So those will be happening weekly, depending on the schedules of all of the artists. If I say too much about the dates, it might spoil it a little bit. But the point is, we have everything planned out. We have some events coming up in the mixtape this year that weren't otherwise there last year. So that's a thing. The point is, the answer to that question, I can't reveal all of it. That's the main point. So yeah, I kind of didn't answer your question, but also kind of.
That doesn't answer my question.
Never mind. Okay. Point is, if I say too much, it's a spoiler, and I don't want spoilers. All right. Next question. Hi. We have a question from Andrea.
So Mixtape is obviously a project that you do alongside uni, or it's not part of uni, but yeah. Have you guys ever encountered a period where you just did not have the creative juices to produce your piece, and how did you overcome that?
Is this directed to me? Is it?
Them, you, Suhit, and
They can answer if they want. If you want.
I would like for them to answer.
Oh.
If that's okay.
Oh, the mic is in my hand, so I'm going to start. I guess. Okay, so, challenges, they kind of addressed that in a question that I asked them, but that's okay, because there's a few things that I would like to say too. In terms of the mixtape last year, it was a great project overall, but you know, there were a few challenges, especially with things like deadlines and dates, like they were mentioning before. I was working on 5 tracks, if I recall. It's a lot, but you know, 2 of them I got done pretty quickly, but the other 3, they took a little bit longer. So you know, 5 tracks, I learned the hard way that that was a lot of work to take on, and especially when you're working with other people, it gets very daunting when you want to try and talk to them and manage them. Not that we had any problem with communication or anything, but it's just you're making a song, and that's a pretty big creative commitment in its own kind of way. So, of course, that also kind of clashed with uni in a sense, because you have to study, and I didn't exactly study music at the time, so there was no way I could, you know, integrate them both. And at the same time, if you do study music, there's like, it's not really a guarantee that what you do in a music course in university will relate to what you do in, say, in the mixtape when you make your songs personally, right? So, of course, we had problems with things like, I remember I had 3 tracks with vocals, and processing vocals, just as a little aside, processing vocals is like, it's a very fine and delicate art that takes a long, long time, because what will happen is your vocalists, they'll come to you and they will send you 5 takes, say, 5 takes at the least. That's at the least. And between all of those takes, what you have to do as a producer is you have to find the best bits and you have to chop them up. And then you have to Frankenstein them together to make like the best kind of take. That's like, I would call that the master take. And then that master take isn't even done yet, because what you have to do is you have to, maybe you might need to do a little bit of pitch correction, and you might need to do some compression, and you might need to do all of this like random technical jargony stuff. And the point is, dealing with vocals takes a long time. And that's just one aspect of music production. So it takes up a lot of time, but if you're willing and dedicated enough to make time for it, that's really the kicker. Of course, I'm also in the perspective of me, I was making 5 tracks, and that was kind of a lot, so maybe I won't make that many this year. But definitely, if you put the time and effort into it, especially if you love it, like I do, then sometimes it feels like a chore, but most of the time, especially when you're doing all the creative stuff without all the technical kind of jargon, it doesn't feel like a job really, it just feels like you're just doing it because you find it fun. Yeah. Anyway, did you guys want to answer? Because you do want to answer. Okay.
It was requested that we answer.
It was requested that you answer.
But you answered it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very in-depth answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think your question was about like creative juices and how you sort of keep your motivation going. I found that music is like my side motivator. So music allowed me to bring more balance to what I was like studying and doing in my everyday life. While I was doing the mixtape, I was working like 2 jobs at a time, plus studying at uni, and doing the degrees that I was doing were very reading based. Goodness me, reading based. Yeah, it's just a lot of, I'm not going to say boring stuff because I do enjoy it, but it was nothing creative whatsoever. Music was something that could get me out of that habit. So if the creative juices weren't flowing in the study or the work, I'd go to music. And if music wasn't working, I'd go back to the art. And that's how I kept myself motivated on both sides.
So I only worked on 4 tracks. I'm not as good as Jose.
Okay.
Creative juices for me were kind of stopped. Like they stopped flowing like literally a year before mixtape, and I just kind of And when I was given the opportunity to do Mixtape, I was in the middle of getting ready for an album release, which is all EDM, and also working on a lot of jazz fusion, funk stuff, which had nothing to do with lo-fi. And I was like, well, okay. So I'm just gonna go straight into it. And out of those 4 tracks, like 2 of them were fine because they were group projects, and I found like in group projects, I don't want to let anyone down, right? I want to be able to get music to them as soon as possible. My other tracks, however, were done in like half an hour and 25 minutes respectively. I couldn't find any idea that I liked, and until the last minute I was like, screw it, I'm just going to use this idea, I'm going to stick with it, and I just produced it for a little bit more, and then I just pushed it out because I didn't have any time left, deadline was coming. And apparently they turned out okay. I still think they're trash, but you know, it is what it is.
He's lying. They're actually really good. He's just like he doesn't have any confidence. All right. So yeah, thank you for that question. That was a good question, actually. Very good question. Anyone else? Oh, hello. Again, let's go.
This is more of a legal question. What's your stance on remixes and samples?
That is a very, very good and very, very important question. Okay, I'll address remixes first. In terms of remixes, sadly, I don't think we want to kind of take in remixes for now. Although, if you are interested in remixing previous mixtape tracks, that's a different story. That's free reign. But in terms of remixes of tracks that are not affiliated with anything to do with Lo-Fi Society, I'm afraid that's probably not going to be possible because we don't want to have to deal with all the fiddly stuff. If you pay for royalties, for example, depending on the distribution service that you use, it's like $10. So if you have 5 people making remixes, that's $50 that our society has to spend, and we might not be able to make it back. In terms of samples, so there are a bunch of sample packs out there that you can use. You can buy sample packs, and there are even some free ones, around on the internet that you can use. As long as they are royalty free, you can go ahead and you can use them. I use royalty free samples all the time because sometimes I just want a good drum sound or a good loop or something, and I just get it, drag it in, and then I'm done with that. But in terms of sampling other songs, it gets a little bit fiddly because sampling other songs is kind of an interesting thing because you have producers, especially in hip hop, you can hear it in hip hop a lot. They sample a lot of other songs, from random places, a lot of very obscure places too. And it's kind of a gray area because they use that song and then they say, okay, this is my song now, but really it's like from someone else. But my take on sampling is that if you mix it up and mangle it enough so that it becomes your own thing, and so that you don't get copy strikes. What? Yeah. So that you don't get copy striked, I think that is okay, but you have to have the know-how to be able to use a sample and really make it your own. But other than that, be careful with using samples. I'm not shunning you away from it, but it's something that you have to be very, very careful with. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Thanks.
Anything else? Yo, it's Ron. Let's go. Oh, it's there. Sorry.
Mine's too Kojack, but I guess Angel as well. How do you Angle? How do you go about writing your lyrics? Like, do they just come naturally, or is it like music beat, or do you have an idea usually? Yeah, like that.
That's a really good question.
Love that question. Yeah.
That's a good question.
Thank you. On the legal one as well. Before I get to that, are you gonna do like the legal sessions again, like we did last year?
I can address that later. If you
Okay,
want.
all right, no worries, because we did have some issues around that last year. But yeah, to answer your question, lyric writing. Lyric writing is a tough one. When it came to the track that I was on, Starting Over, Black White Mezzanine took most of that. I found that one, in terms of creative juices, a very difficult song to write. But in terms of Odyssey, The best thing to do, and I have my own way of writing lyrics, I think everybody has a different way. The way that I did it was I would start off with a concept, and my concept was struggling with finding your direction sort of in life and in university, and just where you're going, what you want to be, and I would write it in paragraphs. So I would have 4 lines about what that meant to me, 4 lines about how my friends would see that, 4 lines about this. And I would sort of structure it in a way where I could systematically address different perspectives on this particular issue or the struggle that I was facing. And then I would have certain ways of dealing with these things. The end of each line would rhyme. And then as I was going on, I would edit it. I would change it every time. The first the first lot of lyrics that I submitted to Bedra, in all honesty, were awful. I didn't like them whatsoever. They were absolutely not what ended up on the last track. And I found that feedback from everybody was super important because we had a showcase early on when we did the Mixtape project, and everybody got to listen to what it sounded like initially. And I felt that I wasn't happy with what I had done. I noticed that some people were like, oh, this is good, but it can be better. So I pushed myself to do more. It's, I think, the best way to describe how the lyrical process works is to just honestly write down how you feel. And then as you go on and as you play it to yourself, you'll know how to express how you feel better and in a way that other people can understand as well.
Yo, I'm taking notes right now. Let's go. Kojack Songwriting Masterclass. When? Hello?
Now.
You gonna write lyrics? Okay, never mind. Alright, any more questions? Going once? Going twice? No more questions? Alright, sweet. I guess that just about wraps up our entire presentation. So, thank you for coming. Thank you. That is a QR code. If you'd like to take a picture of it, if you've already signed up, that's great. If you want to if you're thinking about signing up, then go ahead and just it's the QR code. Yeah, I see him. I see him doing it right now. Look at this. He hasn't signed up. Oh my goodness. Okay, but yeah. And also, if you have any friends, if you don't necessarily make music, but if you have friends that you know that they might be interested, that they might be music producers, they might be composers, they might be songwriters, singers, I don't know, doesn't really matter. Any musician of any kind that you think might be interested in something like this, please go ahead and tell them about it, and take a picture of this QR code, maybe send them the link or something. But yeah, join, because it's good. Anyway, thank you for coming. Big shout out to the rest of the exec team who let me sit here and ramble for an hour. Thank you again to the subcom team for getting all the clips and making the trailers. Thank you to Larissa, who did an absolutely amazing job on the teaser. Absolutely amazing. Thank you to Suhit. Thank you to Suhit for getting this presentation together. Without this guy, this stuff wouldn't be on screen. And also the first 2 pieces of music video type things were also done by him last year. So this guy's talented. Seriously, the guy knows his shit. And also, thank you to anyone who signed up. Thank you to these guys for coming, taking the time out of their day to come and listen to me ramble. And yeah, thank you for coming. Thank you all for coming. It's great.
Thank you for hosting.
Thank you.